Well, every woman jokes about the middle-age spread. Have a look.
Would you hand me my wrap, please? And, turn around.
Why do I have to, turn around?
Because the last time you saw me standing up naked, I was in my 40s. Things look different lying down, just...
You've gotten kind of nuts.
Yeah.
I love how
It's not just 50 middle age. It's also, I mean, I do the same. But look, but now a recent study shows that struggling with body image issues is on the rise in 50-somethings, and many are developing eating disorders for the first time.
So joining us today to discuss this is body image expert Danielle Miller, psychologist Jackie Manning, fitness expert, and welcome to the show, Michelle Bridges, and our favourite commentator, Angela Mollard.
Oh,
so, I just said that. No, that's really, it's because you like my pants. Danny, now look, we often associate body image problems with teenagers, don't we? I mean, we've had you in to talk about that a lot, but so does this surprise you that there's this new sort of trend to this into women later in life?
Not at all. I mean, if we think that there are pressures placed on young women to be perfect and to fit a very narrow ideal, then you can also multiply those pressures by 10, really, for older women. In fact, older women are virtually invisible in popular culture and in the media. We see very few women over the age of 40, you know, as hosts of shows. Certainly we don't see them in fashion magazines. So while the research shows us that, yes, teens are very concerned with body image, so too are older women. In fact, 85% of women over 40 think they're not as attractive as the average woman. 1 in 5 will go on to say that they think they're so unattractive they avoid mirrors.
Oh, that's horrible.
It is really sad, because you would think that at that point in our life, when hopefully we've achieved so much...
You're comfortable in your own skin.
That you'd be comfortable in your own skin and sure of what your currency really is. But we are a culture that glorifies youth.
I think that's changing though, Danny. If you think about it, this network has Tracy Grimshaw,
Sonia
Lisa
Kruger.
Wilkinson, Sonia Kruger. You've got a whole host of women who are doing brilliantly in television, and they're changing the parameters and the kind of the expectation of what women should look like on television. And that's, in the UK, it's even more so. There's women in their 60s and 70s talking very authoritatively about the subjects that they cover.
But then you see Helen Mirren in a bikini, and I mean, it's quite a lofty ideal for you know, us mortals to kind of achieve, isn't it?
I think that when you're moving into your 40s and 50s, this is the time to really be investing in your health, particularly if you want to have a long, vital life, you know, into your 60s, 70s and 80s. So I encourage people to invest time, to take that time out to look after themselves.
I guess health and looking thin are two different things, though, aren't they?
And that's where the waters get muddied. I think when we start looking at an argument around body image and then we start bringing in the whole idea of health and fitness, it muddies the waters. And often I feel, sometimes, as someone who represents the world of health and fitness, that we often cop a bit of backlash because we're encouraging people to take care of themselves, which can only promote a positive body image.
What about the statistically, Michelle, with your work now, are you seeing more and more people at a certain age level starting to go, oh, OK, I'm running out of time here, I better start knocking this on the head, and starting to come to people like you and train more later in life?
Well, certainly we've got more disposable income later in life and possibly even more time. The children have grown up and gone. Yeah. So there's perhaps a time to go, wow, I need to sort of spend and invest a little bit more time in me. Now, as I said, I think that at that age, that's a critical time to be investing some self-love into not just how you look, but how you feel. And I think that's the difference.
And that's
Isn't that key? Psychologically, it's a cycle where you overeat, you feel bad, where actually if you break that cycle, you can change the dynamics of how, not just what you look like, but how you think and your positivity and optimism, those sorts of things.
The fitness there, but the fitness industry, unfortunately, rarely sells fitness as a means to great health and feeling good. Quite often it resorts to quite cliched images of six-packs and toned bodies and looking hot for summer and being bikini ready. And all those messages offer quite a narrow definition, and they also sort of promise...
That comes more from magazine world. I mean, I go to my news agency and I stand there and I look at the lineup of all the magazines out the front of the news agency, and every single one of them is about body image and I love my curves, I hate my curves, I want to be thinner, I want to be bigger. You know, it's boring.
Yeah, and it's about broadening the focus of what makes women valuable as women. If you pin your self-worth and your value onto how you look rather than how you feel, whether that's in a health sense or an emotional sense, then you're going to run into problems and a lot of negative feelings and that negative cycle you were talking about
Jackie,
too,
I want to come
Angela.
back to some of that in a minute. I want to talk to you about the internal as opposed to the external, about how we
Absolutely.
feel. But we'll continue with our special panel right after this and the important role that your partner can play.
Yeah, daddy's little girl.